works, hey? Hello, going live. Apparently we're live. Hello, everyone. We're a couple of seconds early. Hey, isn't that good? Maybe that's bad. I don't know. Let's have a look at the analytics, make sure everything's good. It says that excellent connection, so that's a good sign. Let us know if you can hear us. I seem to be peaking a little bit with that audio, don't I? Have you guys in chat, would you guys agree? Am I sort of a bit loud? Am I coming in a bit hot on the audio?
Mm-hmm. It's quite hot in my ears, yeah.
Yeah. So we can always pop it back a
Why
bit.
don't I just turn my headphone level down? What a great idea, Andy. Whoops, no, that's the wrong button. Help.
So
that disconnects your internet. You don't want that one. Yeah, 85.
Yeah, don't press that one. Says okay, all right. We'll keep persevering with it. Better not touch things. I mean, this is all still set up from Wednesday, so I haven't touched it, basically. Sounds fine. Okay, good. Good. Excellente. Yeah. Excellente. How's everyone?
But is this coming through? Is this actually? Is my voice coming through fine? No crackles or anything like that at all? Still lovely and clear?
I wouldn't say lovely and clear, but there's no crackles. There's no Dalek. Right. There is like a bit of a...
Right, okay.
There is a bit of a high end on it. Let me see if I can actually treat that. Let me see if I can... I'll see if I can get rid of that high end.
I've actually rolled up some high end off there already.
Try now. Well. I've got rid of it.
Hello everybody.
Right. It was around about 8K, if you're wondering. That's where it was.
Okay. I'm just wondering about if that problem was my Steinberg interface dying.
Yeah.
This is now coming straight out of the Mackie desk on a USB, so I may not bother replacing it. I might just use. I've always thought probably the USB interfaces built into desks are probably not as good, but well, it's working all right.
I always find them.
Thank you, Sasquatch. Yeah.
I actually think that they're just as good. Like I've for many years used the Presonus Studio Live, which is the Firewire mixer, and ever since I upgraded to my Mac M1, I can't use it anymore because it's all ancient hardware. But I'm using a Roland Rubix 24 just on that Mac Mini because it actually worked out of the box. The MX1 works out of the box on it, and that's a mixer. So yeah, I don't have a problem with them. I think they're good. I think the only issue with things like I mean maybe the Roland's probably the only one that's got this problem, and I just find it annoying how they have to have their own drivers. Why can't they just be class compliant like everyone else? Why do they have to have their own drivers? Because they want to do all this fancy stuff. Yes, I get it, but that ends up in the future as being useless because all the ones that are class compliant
else moves on
will end up being useful because it will still work. But anything that's got a proprietary driver will end up being useless.
Yeah.
And either you have to archive a machine with the specs of the day and keep that, in cotton wool somewhere, or you throw it in the bin and it becomes e-waste. And we don't want that. How's everyone in the chat?
We could live with that. Usual gang, seemingly. Nice to see them all.
Good to see everyone. Okay, so today it's just Andy and me, and that's not a bad thing actually, because sometimes it gets quite hard when you've got multiple people.
Just tell me to bugger off. I'm fine with that.
Well, don't want to do that. Yeah, so just Andy and I, and Andy came up with an idea, and I think I probably agree with it. And now this idea has a caveat. It has an asterisk. It has terms and conditions.
Oh, heck.
This idea is, if anyone wants to come on the show as a video caller, the invitation is there. Now, there is a caveat that we can't have major tech supporting because we're already streaming. So you've got to have your setup ready to rock and roll before you volunteer to come on. And all you've got to use is just a webcam and a mic, and I guess we can probably get you on. If you want to, don't be scared. It's good fun. So the invitation is there.
No pressure.
And how do you contact me? Well, just let me know in chat. Just flag my name and I'll organise a way of contacting you to get you the information. Discord's actually probably a good place. Let me just show you the Discord address. If you haven't subscribed for free to our Discord server, please do so, because as I said, it's free. And I just need to get that down the bottom there. Look at that. Oh, that's beautiful. Let me just leave that there, I think. Discord address.
That's very pretty.
It's very easy to do. And it will take you straight to Discord, and you can play with that if you haven't already. And I don't know if you guys ever use Twitter these days. Do people still use Twitter? So there's the Twitter address. I actually need to change that.
I've never used it.
Let me just quickly change it. I want the other crap on there. There we go. Whoops. I changed too much of it. There we go. Let's fix that. Twitter address. Bang. Follow me on Twitter. There's the Twitter address. But I think more useful is the bit.ly/Ranzee Discord. That's the Discord server address. I'll keep an eye on it if anyone wants to jump in. Let us know if you want to jump on the show. The invitation is there, as I said before. I think it's probably good. Makes the show a bit more interesting, doesn't it? All right, so let me just close that off. Okay, and for those who are watching this for the first time, big hello to you. You guys are awesome. New people are awesome. What we do on this show is we kind of muck around for the first 15 minutes. We call it the pre-show. You could probably already see down the bottom in your live stream bar, it should show pre-show already. At about the turn of the hour, unless you're in one of these weird time zones, which is half-hour difference to the UTC clock, about 9 minutes away, we'll actually start the main show. We run our regular segments, and this week we're just going to be sort of loosely chatting about synths and things like that, so it's going to be fun. I like these kind of shows where we chat about anything, because who knows what would happen.
Yeah, feel free to chuck us some questions in the chat as well. Give us something to talk about.
Trust me, there will be a lot coming out of the news this week. I think there'll be quite a lot to talk about.
Yeah, be cool. Well, actually, there's some interesting bits, isn't there? Yeah.
There is, yeah.
Woohoo!
Finally, we get some nice news that we can sink our teeth into. And yeah, the chatties, always welcome to chat. So yeah, brilliant. Lots of familiar faces in the chat, which is good to see. Good to see. All right, so I've got to keep remembering to hit this button, Andy, which is it's kind of on the opposite side to where I'm normally the top left button on my little controller here is the one I hit, because we usually have the 4. I could do that if you like. I could have 2 chats going at the same time. How cool is that? Double chats. Or we can just do this.
Chatting in stereo. Quadraphonic chat.
Yes, Sonic Talk, eh? It was good fun. Thanks, Martin. Yeah, because Nick was doing something new, and I've known Nick for a long time, and yeah, he just wanted to try streaming his show from the cloud, and he uses Amazon cloud hosting for his stuff, and it's all pretty new. In fact, I'm actually amazed that show actually worked, because of all the things that could possibly go wrong.
Yeah, it was smooth actually, wasn't it?
Mm.
When he was in his bedroom, it looked like a bedstead behind him.
He was he was at his house in Bath and streaming from his bedroom, and he was using a Mac or a MacBook to run his show from. And normally in his actual office, he runs it off a Windows PC, and he's got Macs and stuff as well. But yeah, interesting. It was actually pretty cool, and it was it was nice to be the guinea pig on his new streaming thing. Yeah. But I think the whole point of it is that he could technically go anywhere in the world and broadcast his show. So if he went to say NAMM in January, he could still run his show.
Well, they've got a super move, aren't they? If they can, that would be cool.
Yeah,
Asio's just said he's a real pioneer in streaming, which is true. He's been doing it for such a long time.
He is. He knows
doing a live show. It really is a trailblazer, which is great.
Yeah.
Is he having to self-isolate? Is that why he was at home?
So he's
COVID related?
He did say anything that I'm saying. I'm just repeating what he said on the show anyway. He said that his daughter had tested positive, and as a result, because he's living with his daughter, they're isolating. So, which I believe that's the rules you guys have over in the UK. Yeah,
yeah, we have to do that until she's clear and they've done the 10 days. It's just it's an inconvenience. I think it's good that it's still in place. We still have to abide by that sort of thing. Life is getting back to sort of relatively normal. A lot of people, when you go out, are still wearing face coverings and stuff. I mean, for example, I've just been to the supermarket. I always wear it. If not for me, for other people, I just think it's still a sensible thing to do, because this thing has not yet gone away. So
no, I don't think it will for a while.
People are at liberty to disagree with me. That's fine.
I don't know. I kind of agree with you, Andy. I think if you're just minimising the possibility. I mean, if you've had your vaccinations and you're still wearing a face mask out, I think you're just minimising the possibilities.
Yeah. The thing about a bad thing. It isn't about contracting. It's about spreading. You are less likely to spread the thing if you are wearing a face covering. Yep. And that to me is actually so much more important, so much more significant. Let's not be selfish, folks. But anyway, that's just, again, I'm not criticising anybody else for not wearing them anymore, because I know that they're horrible things. But
it's courtesy, isn't it? Don't you think? It's a bit like when you sneeze.
I think so.
You know, you sneeze into your elbow, or you cover yourself with a hanky or something. Yeah, it's just courtesy.
Yeah, I agree. Well, I'll be snotty today. So if I start sneezing, I'll be blowing into me rolls of loo roll, which I have to have.
Into your snot rags.
Into my snot. Well, I got through so many ordinary sort of like nice fine damask handkerchiefs that I thought, sod that, I can't keep up with the washing of these things. So it's now boxes of tissues and loo roll.
You can go back and iron your Pierre Cardin hankies now and put them in your drawer.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
Isn't those the things when you get at your
finest Christmas, damask. Yeah.
Christmas and birthdays, you get handkerchiefs, right? And just like this pile in the corner of your room where there's like 40,000 handkerchiefs.
Well, no, I have a thing about handkerchiefs. I really do. I won't leave the house without one. It's one of those things that my mother instilled into me as a little boy, and it's not ever rubbed off. Pants worn twice and never as nice, and always have a handkerchief that's clean.
Did she used to make you wrap up a bit of bus money inside the hanky as well?
No. It's every day. Oh, because honestly, the things a child every day was this lovely, nicely pressed, clean handkerchief. Every day.
Yeah. Oh, their mums are amazing.
I'm not. Yeah. I obviously think about this now. I mean, I've got piles of handkerchiefs. I never iron them. I'm not doing that. Oh, yeah, Sasquatch. Yeah, same here. Yeah, but are you from Yorkshire, Sasquatch, or Lancashire? Maybe it's a Northern England thing. It was the lovely pressed handkerchiefs every day. That was it. The various mottos that my mother used to drill into my head. And good manners cost nothing, and they open doors. That was another.
This isn't a hanky,
microfiber cloth.
This is a microfiber cloth.
Essential. Yeah, essentials these days. Piles of microfibers.
Yeah,
Lancashire says Sasquatch. That's right. My mum and dad are both from Wigan, Sasquatch. So yeah, it's obviously maybe it's a Lancashire thing.
It might be.
And Kent's in. Hiya, Kent. Good to see you on tonight. We're giving us a good laugh.
I haven't had a chance to watch yesterday's show yet.
We'll say nothing then.
Yep. Don't say anything, because I'm actually keen to see what Kent got up to.
He's always good value. Good value.
So I do apologise. Obviously, it's about 2-3 in the morning when that show's on live. But I do catch up sometime during the weekend, and I actually enjoy watching the boys on the Pro Synth Network. Always give them a plug. It's a good one. We got Andy in the chat as well.
Just seen that.
So if you guys
jump in, that'd be cool.
Don't remember, Andy was on last week showing all the wares, all the MIDI controllers. That was a really good show. I really enjoyed that. I'm not blowing wind up my own rear end here. I'm actually talking about what Andy, what actually Andy did, not what I did. I did nothing. I just sat here and pressed buttons. But yeah, no, it was
Blowing
good.
wind up your rear end. Can we quote you on that one? Ranzee,
Yeah, you can.
well?
You can quote me. You can even do a meme.
All
right.
We'll find something about that one.
We got about a minute to go, and I'm going to get ready to hit the magic button. We're about to start the show. Don't get too excited. Don't spill your beer. Yes. Just watching the clock for it to tick over. There we go. Here we go. Start the show. Well, hello. Welcome again to another Saturday. You've made it. It's been 7 days since you last saw my ugly face. I do apologise for that, but here I am again. And no, it's really nice to have you here. And obviously, anyone that's new, big hello to you. We are a bit of a geeky sort of synth, drum machine, sequencer, Eurorack, God knows what, music-y type tech show. There's a few of us on the internet doing this sort of stuff now, but we've been around for a while. Big hello to Andy, who has joined us. I'll just quickly go over to Andy. Andy, how's your week been?
My week has been a lot of it spent in here, actually, getting ready for the gig, fine-tuning stuff, practicing bits, problem solving. There was a bit of a crisis. I don't know if you remember me sort of mentioning to you in the Facebook chat about these Tesseract modules and not being able to get them to work.
Yes.
You know, you've no idea what a first-class pillock I am. Honestly, seriously. Right, there's a switch on each channel. There's on, off, Q. So you can switch the channel on, you can mute the channel, and you can send it to the Q bus. Right? Yeah. Guess what? What a tit. Yeah, I mean, I know what mute buttons I've got. I've got a bloody great big Mackie up here. It's got mute buttons and that. And I'm getting in such a tiz with these. I can't get any sound out of it. It's broken. It doesn't work. I plugged the cables in wrong. I've fried my modules. No, you know. Honestly, well, thank you to the nice guys at Tesseract for talking me through it and helping me out. They were good. They were good.
Don't worry about it.
Am I nervous yet, Ashowhead? By this time next week, yes, I'll be nervous because it's been a long time. At the moment, I'm just still, playing stuff, thinking from one day, oh, this sounds really good, and the next day, God, this sounds terrible. Am I really going to perform this in front of people? It's awful. That it's this sort of swinging of emotions of going, yeah, this is great. Oh God, this is awful. So I don't know. Well, I've got to stand up and do it on Sunday next week. I don't know the exact time, but heck. I'm also quite frustrated at my own lack of adventurousness using the modular, because I thought in order to sort of keep it safe, I've just set it up as a 2 oscillator patch and a single oscillator patch and some drum sounds from the QD. Nothing adventurous at all there, but I can noodle, I suppose. But yeah, so that's what I've been doing. But the week started with me in a state of abject. I mean, honestly, I can't believe how stupid I was. All it was a switch.
Well,
anyway, they're great. They're in the rack. They're working and they sound fab and they look amazing. Right, that's my piece now.
It happens to the best of us. Don't worry. Don't forget, I work in IT, so I know all about people doing silly things. And you kind of you sort of become used to people feeling embarrassed asking you silly questions. And I reckon those guys would as well. Hey, don't feel too worried about how it sounds, because remember, most of the people that are going to be there listening to you have never heard it before, so they're going to have that element of surprise that you don't have.
This is always true, and this is what I used to say to myself previously at gigs. It's not necessarily too much the people who were there listening as to my peers who I'm going to be on stage with, because these are guys who know what to do, and I'm more nervous about them.
Yeah,
some of the people I've known for a long time going, bloody hell, Andy, you got all that gear on then. It sounded like that. You're an idiot. Yeah, honestly, I'm more worried about what they're going to say.
That's not going to happen. They're going to be behind you because they're in the same boat as you. Remember that. It's a club.
Shimmer reverb. Is that what I need, Sasquatch? I need to put shimmer reverb on it. I actually can. The Z5000 has got shimmer setting, which is great. And also, I'll tell you, what's really brilliant about these Tesseract modules, which has really opened the whole thing up, is these sensible, like mixing desk auxiliary sends. You don't have to put in line. You can just turn it up. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. So don't forget, most of them will be drinking as well. That's true, Sasquatch. Yeah, I won't be joining the drinkers at that point because I can't do that. I never could.
Yes, the chatties are below, and a big hello to all the chatties, of course. Let's go to the big screen of them, and we do say hello every week to the chatties if you're new here. So if you're actually watching and you're not in the chat, please jump in. I think the first person that was in today was Future World Machine, so he gets the yellow Guernsey this week. Wear it with pride. Martin Taylor, big hello to you. Suzanne, big hello. Azio Head. Who else we've got? Wayne Murray's there. Sensian. Big Ben's there. Ben Breslin. And Wagoo jumped in. Good to see. And we said hello to Andy before, so we'll just say it again. There's nothing wrong with that. Sasquatch is there. Good to see you. And scrolling right along, who else have we got? Jim Glue's there. Corrosive Abuser. JX3D, nice to see, mate. I'm probably just going to have to scroll because I think I saw Adamski. Big hello to Adam. He's been on the show before.
Yeah.
That was an awesome show as well. And anyone else? Dr. Synth I saw there. I saw a few others. QRD and K. Who else? Who else did we miss? Kent, of course, we missed Kent. So yeah, if I have missed you, I do apologise, but it kept scrolling. I kept using the scroll wheel and just whoop whoop, couldn't keep up. I saw Mac there as well. So lots of usual faces, or usual nicknames, I guess you'd probably call it. So it's good to see all of you there, and thanks very much for being part of the show. So we're going to get stuck into our regular segments. So if you, like I say, always, if you are new, we do a couple of regular segments. And the first one that we do is called Funny Side, and we'll roll the stinger and we'll get to find out what that's all about in a sec. Here we are. What has happened is I've pressed that button and now you've reached the end of the internet. And at the end of the internet are these really stupid things that are supposed to make you laugh called memes. And yes, there is one there. I don't even need to say anything. It says it all itself. What else have we got? This one is quite good. It's Absolute Sound of Music. We sell musical instruments, also drums.
Oh, joy.
Sorry to all the drummers in the chat. They've just left the show in disgust.
Good.
Baby, can you touch me already? Hold on. Someone said VCO instead of DCO.
No.
I think this is Mark Doty's house, isn't it? No, we're not going to do that. Okay. When you listen to my synth mix on $20 headphones. Yeah, I mean, that's respect, isn't it? $20 headphones from Best Buy. What was your favourite, Andy?
These things I've got. I have to say that the drums one, actually, because I know it's a stereotype making drummer jokes. It's really wrong, but
yeah,
we always laugh at them, don't we? So
well, I mean, I've been in a band, and that it was the done thing in the '90s to take the piss out on your drummer. What do the chatties think? What was your favourite meme this week, chatties? Looks like drums got it.
Wagyu says also drums. Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you a drummer, Wagyu? He's got guitars and synths and everything, hasn't he? Is there a musical instrument he doesn't own? He's probably got an Amazonian nose flute as well or something in his collection, I bet.
Yeah. There's like this little bar graph sort of line thing that scrolls when you're streaming, and it shows how many people are in the stream. And then when I did that meme, it just went. No, I'm just kidding. It didn't really. It actually grew. No. We should probably get stuck into the news. Hey, we got some news. This is fun. So yeah, I think the first one that I think you guys might have been talking about this because I haven't actually watched the show yet last night. would have been this bit of news that's just leaked, which is the Take 5. It's definitely not April's Fool's Day, right? So Take 5 from Sequential looks like a new synth. Yeah. Let's first of all let's have a bit of a look at Tom's website, which is called Synth Anatomy. Because let's give him a plug. That's where I got it from. Yeah, I just kind of
leak at the top.
It does say leak, and it did come from what was that website? I'll scroll down and find out what it came from. abtmusic.eu. That's where it came from.
Is that shop in Sweden again that leaked all the Korg stuff?
I think it might have been. But yeah, look, I think it looks interesting anyway. So I kind of feel that maybe this might be a more affordable,
I think it's
keyboard.
A thing, isn't it? It's a thing.
And I'm always kind of, I do like the sequential stuff, don't get me wrong, but I've always been it's been a bit hard for me living where I live in Australia to get ownership of this stuff, because by the time we get it down here, the postage and the customs duty and the GST and all the stuff that we have to pay on top, it actually makes them quite expensive. And this actually, I think they were saying this is going to be around the $12.99 mark, and I think that might actually be quite affordable for me.
Is that US dollars?
I think it's US and Euro. I think they're kind of similar, aren't they, at this stage?
Yeah, similar.
Yeah.
So 100 quid less or so. Yeah. I've got to say, what's the current price of a Rev 2? The Rev 2 isn't stupidly more expensive, and that's 8 voice. Now, we'll argue that it's DCOs. There we go, DCOs, VCOs, DCOs. But I just think, as a keyboard player, the size of that keyboard is an issue for a polysynth. I'm looking at going, wow,
it's quite
44
small.
keys.
Yeah.
Well, I think the Mini Moog had the same 3.5 octave keyboard. I think a Mini Moog was the same size of keyboard.
What is it with half octaves?
It was a monosynth.
What is it with half octaves? That does my head in. That does.
Strange.
Because the purpose of that half octave. What are you actually going to do with half an octave? Do you know what I mean? Like you always. I don't know about you guys, but I always find that I bang my finger on the edge of the synth because I want an extra key or two, and it's just a habit, I just don't.
Well, Dr.
Like half
Synth
octaves.
just said in the chat. He said, don't see why the odd key range, what it gives you, should be 37 keys with the world. Yeah, Manny, I'm sort of with you on that. Really, I'm looking at it going. It doesn't look quite right to me. A 4-octave keyboard, please, or a 5-octave keyboard. Yes.
Yeah, and bring the mod wheel and the pitch wheel down so it's next to the keys. I actually kind of prefer it.
Yeah. The thing is, there's the whole Korg batch of stuff, which the mod wave, the OP6 and those things. And I look at those and I go, these could be interesting synths, but the keyboard setup is all wrong for me. I just look at it and go, no.
Yeah.
I may change my mind if I ever get to play one. I haven't played on one yet, but I look at that and I think it's in the same sort of bracket. But just give me a nice big 5-octave keyboard, please. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I can even cope with 4 octaves, but I'd rather have 5.
Let's just have another squeeze at it. I think that sort of plasticky sort of top lid look, it was in that other synth that they brought out last year.
Yeah. Just the same style, wasn't it?
Was it the Pro 3?
The non-limited edition one. There was a limited edition one which you could sort of lean on.
That was nicer,
a flat one that looked like that. But I don't mind the look of it. I think the look is quite nice. It's sort of modern. It's futuristic in its own sort of way. That doesn't worry me too much. It's the keyboard.
Well, obviously we'd like to hear it. I think that's. I mean, it's all well and good talking about this stuff.
Yes, of course.
We've got to hear it. We've got to see. I mean, you can see the features, you can see the knobs, you can see the keyboards, and we can flap about all we like about this stuff. But we really, really, really need to hear it. And I really don't get why these synth people like hold on to stuff before. Like if it's leaked, it's leaked now. We all know about it. Just announce it and put some videos up. Just get on with it. Put us out of our misery.
Who knows?
Well,
Ken Spong, Mini Moog starts with F2. So Is the keyboard range the same, Ken? Is that what you're saying? It was an F to a C. Is that what it is? 3.5 octaves F to C.
F and C.
I think it is, isn't it? F in C. Yeah. Dark in F. F in dark. No,
Yeah.
sorry. Don't go down there. Choir boy jokes.
Yes, let's not do that. All right. Well, anyway, that's it's not really a lot more we can talk about that anyway. So I thought we'd do next is we'll go on to this next item, which I thought was interesting, and that's this little thing called the Oscar Tone Scout. It's a little DIY project. I know some of you don't like the DIY stuff, but $42 to $149, depending on what you do, how you get it. But why don't we have a little look at the video? Because there is a video. And I always forget which button to press. I think it's this one. Is it this one? Yay, look at that. Here we go. Pretty easy to build. Yay!
That was a mobile phone user playing a keyboard, wasn't it?
He just rammed a pen in it.
His thumbs.
Yes.
Yeah, that pencil making a little stand. I thought that was quite fun. That I liked the idea of that.
I just thought it was just it was too cute.
I was using the new Fata keyboard.
that's the Roland System 1 keyboard.
Yeah. Oh, don't.
There's a couple of different colours. I think there was pink as well. I think that what the graphic we showed was pink, wasn't it? Sorry, there's noise coming.
Pink one and a yellow one.
Yeah.
Clear Denker, no MIDI.
Let me see if there's a link to the
Lars, well done.
the web shop on this. I've lost it now.
Oh,
yeah. Anyway, what I liked about the video, it was just like when you've bought your kid a toy and you've got to assemble it when you go home, and it's kind of reminded me of that. And then it in the end, it kind of delivered the same sort of reference to being toy-like. But I don't know. Well, for some people, they love that sort of stuff. I mean, that could be a quirky thing that you could use in a performance that might end up
circuit bender.
Yeah.
Did you? I mean, I think I know what the answer is. Do you know whether it can be made? Whether you can make it sound different to that rather nasal beep, or can it be different?
Yeah. So there were some.
Can we change it?
There were some. Let me just grab the website, and we'll go to here so we can see both of us. It's an open source project, so the actual the thing that the synth engine runs on is open source, so you can go in and modify the code. What else does I want to tell you? It uses the Atmega 328P processor, and there's a GitHub project. What I might do is I might just link that into the chat on the show now, and someone in the chat, if they're really interested in this sort of stuff, can go in there and find out some more information about what you can actually do with it. Because the GitHub is usually kind of where you find the code and everything. But I just thought, I mean, it's pretty inexpensive. You can't really, even if it, you can't really go wrong with these things anyway. So, bit of fun. All right, should we move on to the next? We think we should. The next thing was, now I like this. Okay, this is
me too.
This is AM Synths. Now, the guy from AM Synths worked for Behringer to make the 2600 clone and quite a few other things he did. And he's still obviously making his own stuff. And this is a Jupiter 4 high-pass and low-pass filter module for Eurorack, which I actually think is pretty cool. It's only 140 pounds. I do like the design of this. He's quite clever how he lays things out. I love big resonance knobs. So there's a plus for me. Because you notice that most synths, they have a big frequency knob and a little resonance knob. I mean, resonance kind of feels like the poor cousin, and it has a little knob. I just like to have that sort of bit more of a finite control. And I do like how you've got the, nice envelope and LFO mod knobs on it. You've got keyboard control too, which I like. It's nice, which is kind of what we see in synths. So unfortunately, I don't think I've got any audio demos of this yet. So that is a bit of unfortunateness, but I can show you the website so you can get a little bit more detailed information. So let's go here. So this is, if you're wondering, this is amsynths.co.uk. I like this picture. It actually shows you, the through hole. It's really sort of, I like it. It's just really well thought out.
It's nicely made, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just really nice.
Not that I understand what any of it does, but it looks good.
Yeah, that's fine. But I mean, look, the AM8104 has two filters: a four-pole low-pass filter, which is your typical 1970s Roland OTA design, and the single-pole OTA high-pass filter, which I don't know if you guys remember, but Jupiter 4 filters were really nice. They were really, really nice. They just had something special about them. So yeah, and that will bring Jupiter 4-ish sounds to your rack, which is can't be a bad thing. Let's see what the chatties are saying about that, if anything. Looks nice, yes. What's special about them?
There is one question.
Good question.
There is one question that's been raised, actually, and I know it's not about this particular module. It's back to the sequential take 5, and that was from Adam, from Adamski, whether this might have anything to do with Novation, whether there's a Novation influence behind it. And I thought, ooh, that is an interesting thought. Maybe is there a bit of cross-pollinating going on here? Because Novation have a history of smaller versions of synths, like the Mini Nova and things like that, the Ultra Nova, they're small. I thought, ooh, a bit of chin scratchy there, going, yeah, interesting. What do you reckon, Ranz?
Well, if I was a gambling man, I would say probably not yet. I would say that this is stuff that Dave had already had on the table, and because he did announce that he had some synths coming, and
True. Yeah.
But you never know. They might have brought some dev into there right at the last minute to spruce it up. Who knows? There might be some algorithms for the FX or something like that. But I mean, Dave's got all that stuff anyway. So I think the next load of stuff that comes out of sequential will probably have a bit of the Focusrite or Novation influences in it.
Good answer there. I think I'm inclined to agree with you on that one. Probably, but it was a good question, Adam. Thank you for that one.
Yeah, excellent question.
But back to the filter. I think it's a great little filter. Really quite like this. Like the demos. Looks amazing. Simple and straightforward and clear. Nothing too complicated. Yeah.
Now,
nicely done.
I didn't see any demos. Where did you see the demos? I couldn't find.
Am I just making that up? Am I just talking crap now? Am I just
well, if
think of it?
No, you probably you might have. If there were, I probably should find them because look, one of the questions that was asked in chat, I think it was Martin. He said, "What's so special about the Jupiter 4 filters?" I think some of the guys in chat are answering it already, but no, it was Future World Machines that said it. Sorry.
I might have made that up. Maybe we haven't heard it yet. Maybe I'm just imagining that we did last night on Pro Synth Network. Maybe we didn't. I'm sorry. Sorry.
I just kind of feel it's a bit hard to sort of talk about without actually showing it. But if you look at the history of the Roland filters from that sort of that age, like when you had the System 100 around then, you had the Pro Mars, and you had the Jupiter 4, which is the 4-voice version of the Pro Mars. If you've ever heard of Pro Mars, it's got that real special sort of
same character.
Yeah, it's probably the same filter, and it just
filter that they played last night. Sorry, Ranz. The filter that they played last night on Pro Synth Network was the SH5 one from GeForce Global. Some other people that have done an SH5 filter. That was the one. So I'm sorry, it wasn't this. I apologise.
No, that's fine. That's right. We talked about the SH5. It was about a month ago when they brought that.
We did,
out.
Actually,
Yeah, and I think if you were to compare the Jupiter 4 to the SH5, they're different again. So Roland actually, there's actually a couple of websites that I've used in the past, and see if I can dig it up before the end of the show, where there's a couple of people
G-Storm, that's corrosive,
that have listed a whole bunch of Roland gear and the differences with the filters. And it's actually quite incredible how different some of them are. And obviously things like the SH101 and all that sort of product that was around that sort of Jupiter 8, all those products are around that sort of, you know, early 80s, late 70s, that sort of added area of Roland's analog brilliance, we'll call it. They all had character, and I think it's important. If you definitely are interested in this, go check out some YouTube videos on each of the different synths, and you'll hear the difference in characteristics with those filters, definitely. Right, it might be something that we can do a bit later on in the show anyway. What was the last thing we were going to look at? Oh, yes, this thing. Now, we have shown the K-Mix before. So Keith McMillan's brought out, what has he brought out? The blue version, but he's also added a couple of new things to this, which I think is important. So it's got upgraded low noise ultra preamps in it. So I have heard that people weren't 100% happy with the preamps in the original, and so he's gone and he's improved them. The other thing that he's improved is the actual ABS polycarbonate finish that's on it. And also he's claiming that it's got Ableton 11 integration in it. These are $599. I do have a little video that we can watch, so let's go to that. I like that thing at the end that he was showing, which definitely is something that I was, well, you guys probably would have, you know, watched Sonic State. I'm actually pretty big on surround sound for your mixes, and obviously that mixer's got it in there. But not to mention, it also is an audio interface. It's also a programmable mixer, of course, and it's also a control surface. And I think the control surface side of it makes it kind of interesting compared to your usual mixer because of that touch sort of polycarbonate sort of feel to it. But I've seen videos with this guy driving over these things with cars. So they're built really, really strong. So,
don't try this at home, folks.
Yeah. Andy, I know you were talking about mixers briefly before. What do you think of Keith McMillan stuff, just in general, I guess?
Well, I've never actually seen one in real life. I've seen them being used on loads of YouTube videos. I mentioned to you before we got linked up, before we started, about the Q Nexus and Gary P. Hayes' videos that he does, and he uses a Q Nexus, which I've been really, really impressed with. I mean, it's a bit pricier than, say, something like a Keystep or a Keystep 37, but it's in the same sort of idea. It's got CV out, it's got the touch keyboard and various ways of control. I thought, oh, that looks really swanky, quite fancy. Then you find out, oh, it's 170 quid. Oh, right, well, think again. But they look great, and I suppose they're extremely useful. I think this particular box, when I watched that demo this morning, I thought, I don't know anything about this. This is brilliant. What a great idea. Yeah, really impressed.
Yeah, I think I agree. A couple of things that worry me, but may not worry me. It might actually be a cool thing. They are USB powered. so USB bus powered. Now I'm just kind of thinking.
Bloody USB power. Ugh.
Yeah, so that can be a bad thing, but sometimes that might be a good thing. And where I was actually thinking the positive side of this is obviously people that own MPCs now know that you can plug audio interfaces that are class compliant into it, and it will pick up all the channels, and then you can use it with your MPC natively into the software in your MPC hardware. That will make this mixer pretty cool because it's actually quite a small form factor. And a lot of the other digital mixers and things aren't nice and compact like that. So I think that might actually, that might start getting a few people interested in that particular market. What is it? 8 in, 10 out. So that's quite a lot. Yeah,
I'm quite intrigued why you'd have more outputs than you have inputs. Is there a special effects bus or something?
Yeah. So usually you would have. So, for example, it would be like if you were running it out of your Mac or your PC, you would hear the actual stereo output of the computer.
Oh, yeah, of course.
And then you've got
2 for stereo. Yep.
And then you've got your channels. Yeah. And you can muck around with the configuration of that as well too, by the way. So, yeah. Anyway, let's see what the chatties say about the K-Mix, and anyone in there may own one, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah, people are saying one of those. I thought it looked really cool.
People saying they would prefer to have faders, yeah. I know I've seen this argument before, but you've got to remember technology and things require a movement. And it may not be this, but things do change. Sliders, may not be around forever. I don't know. They get dusty. They get stuff caught in them and they get crackly. So
they do. They really do.
It is. Look, it's just think outside the square a little bit and think about more of the portability of these things if you're sort of performing live and you might just have, a trestle table or something where you've got to fit all your gear on. So it's aimed at that sort of person. Yeah, exactly, Andy. Exactly.
Absolutely, yeah. Interesting because little mixers, I've spent quite a bit of time this week thinking, how am I going to mix this? So my next experiment, and I haven't tried it yet because you know what? I don't have the right cables. Is will the Tesseract modules take ordinary line level, or will they have to be Euro rack level? But so I'm going to plug in the Electribes into the Tesseract module to see whether they're all right or whether they're too quiet. And if they're too quiet, I'm going to have to think about getting a little mixer to mix stuff. Because I don't want to take the big Mackie out with me.
Because you might have to pre them. You might have to preamp them.
It might need to get a little preamp. Or there's, of course, these little modules that boost. That were preamp modules, I suppose, that boost so you can use guitar effects pedals with your Euro rack.
Yeah.
But it might be that if you... Here's a question. What about using the headphone output? That's a higher level, isn't it? So will that work? I don't know. These are all experiments. But little mixers are a thing. If I am going to be doing more live gigs, a convenient little mixer, just yay big with 8 input. I don't know, three mono inputs, couple of stereo inputs, that sort of thing. Just like the Tesseract's got. Interestingly enough, it may be that if the Tesseract thing works, I may not bother. Just say, I'll plug them in there. They're great, fantastic. Well,
yeah,
I just love the look of this Keith McMillan thing. I thought it looked great. I thought the range of things that are in it, it means it goes beyond just being a mixer. It's a mixer, an audio interface, it's a controller, it's all sorts of things. I just thought, it's not often I see a product and go, oh God, I really like the look of that. The last sort of little mixer thing which I saw, which really made me go, oh, now that's really interesting. Was that 1010 one? That little little one, which you have to do on you mix it on a screen. Now people grumbled and moaned and said they wanted faders and this, that, and that. And I'm thinking, actually, do you know what? You don't need that.
Yeah, just
on that little box, you send it a patch change and it goes to the next mix. I just thought absolutely that was. But then you think, it's 500 quid. Right, okay.
Well, this is 600 quid.
Little gig solution. Yeah, exactly. They're not cheap, but as gig solutions, that they could be something great. I mean, I remember, in the olden days, looking around all this stuff, and I don't want to do that next week. I want to be able to stick it on a table, carry it on stage, plug it, switch on power, and it all works.
Yeah,
that's my dream. So having little things are good at the minute, in my view.
I might be able to get a picture of someone was asking about the connections on the back. So let's see if I can get a picture up of the connections on the back.
There was a thing on the video actually with the back connections, because there was definitely the outputs.
Here we go. That was quick, wasn't it?
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
So it moved pretty quick in the video, I do admit. But one of the things that I thought was interesting is how that. Do you notice how the USB connectivity there? There's two. There's a USB micro.
Are they different sockets?
Yeah, and a USB mini. So there's the two different types. I actually I can't remember whether the control one takes USB power and the other one, that might be an intuitive way of actually getting around the ground loop noise issues with it too. The other thing
it looks like it does both. If you look at that, it says 5 plus 5 volts DC down to both of them.
Yeah, it could be to power something external.
USB power is not good. I don't know if you remember back in the sort of 80s and 90s, we all used to whinge and moan about wall wart power adapters. Oh God, it's got a power adapter. It's not got a proper power supply. And now we're quite happy with those, and we just don't want USB power anymore. Now, please don't put USB power on it. USB power is not good. Please don't put it on.
Wait till the rant section.
But I think more. Yeah, sorry.
But the other thing, I just wanted to quickly mention too before we're giving this a lot of airtime, but a lot of mixers don't have preset storage. So you might set your mixer up with EQ and onboard effects and the way you've got your faders and all that sort of stuff set up and your pans. To be able to store that as a scene in a digital mixer is important, and not all of them have it. Especially obviously the analog ones don't, but this does. This has onboard preset storage, and that's actually a really cool thing. So if you do a bit of a tour with your gigs, you might have pub A, pub B, pub C, name the pubs on there as your preset storage, right?
Yeah.
So
that terrible slapback echo at the at the lead mill.
Yeah. That's it for news. Okay, so we shall just have a quick look at chatties and see what they're saying about it. Talking about all sorts of different mixes, what they've got and what they recommend, and
all sorts.
Yeah. I mean, look, I'm not disagreeing about the fader argument, everyone. I was just kind of trying to sort of get people to sort of think outside the square a little bit with this. So it might not be your cup of tea, but yeah, that's okay. Right, let's move on to the next segment, which is Price Watch.
Ooh.
And yes, Price Watch is here again, and brought to you by Andy, Synth Addict. Actually, I've got a few first. I'll do mine first, and then we'll get into Andy's. First one off the ranks is the Akai S3000 XL sampler for £950. Looks like I'm out of luck. They won't post it to me. But it is, whereabouts is it? It's...
Camberley.
Camberley, yeah. Wasn't it nice of them to say that it will post in the UK, even though it is actually in the UK? It's nice of them, isn't it? Yeah. I don't know about £950 though.
Southeast somewhere.
That's a lot of money.
950. It is a lot of money for an S3000.
Yeah. I was talking to a mate.
It's sort of the equivalent of the ESI 4000, isn't it? It's the same sort of period, same sort of specs. I don't think you'd get.
They're good mix. They're good samplers, but I just remember talking to a friend of mine the other day about these, and they just had these bad memories of swapping floppy disks all the time, and that was kind of the thing where you were constantly swapping the floppy disks. It was kind of but obviously with these you can do the GoTech floppy drive upgrade and put the USB into it and all that sort of stuff. So these days technology has saved us, but anyway, we'll go on to the next one. The next one is this gold edition of the TR909 in near mint condition. Yes, I don't know about that price.
Minging. Well, somebody's just gone out and got gold spray paint and spray. That's just wrong. Oh, come on. Why would you want to bling up a 909? It just goes against the essence of the machine. Stop it, you silly people.
This one's in Japan, so hello to all the Japanese
Why would
viewers.
Be? Yeah. Sorry. Oops. Careful, Andy. That was bordering on being unacceptable. I'm sorry.
But if I do want to get this, it does ship to Australia. So
Oh, look at you.
yeah, I'm actually, thinking about hitting that buy now button. I don't know about the price though. I kind of feel $16,000 US
blokes,
for a drum machine.
Grow up. I mean, you cannot. No, even collectors don't want to pay that much. Corrosive, yeah, it looks awful. It does. It looks wrong, doesn't it? It just looks wrong. The TR909 was never a looker in the first place.
Pete's in the chat. He's asking what it is. Pete, it's your next drum machine, mate. It's what it is.
Get it bought, Pete.
What about this one? This one is from Andy.
God, what's this?
This is the Orgon Energizer. Spelled interestingly. It's a modular synth, and it's been pro-serviced. This thing it's quite. I actually had some trouble trying to work out.
It looks wacky.
Yeah. So let me just get my thing up.
I love the look of it. $6,000. No, thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, I think that looks great.
There's actually it's by There's actually YouTube videos on this thing, and there's also people on Reverb selling this literally right now. In fact, there actually may even be this listing that I'm looking at. Yeah, so let me just quickly tell you. Where did that go? Where'd my thing go? I've lost my link.
Coming from the Netherlands.
I've lost my link. Sorry.
Occident's Pro Audio, Soesteren, Netherlands.
I've lost my link.
Are these sort of like bespoke hand-built things, are they?
Yeah, it's kind of it's a semi-modular synth. Yeah, I've lost my link. I don't know where it's gone now. Maybe we could do a video on it.
No, don't worry.
Let's do that.
It's not got a lot of ins and outs there on the front panel.
Let's grab it. I think it's interesting because when I saw this,
some of those look like they're normalized. Filter 1 into envelope 1 into envelope 2. Normal. Strange looking box.
Okay, let's go to this demo.
Devon Analog Studios have one. Ooh.
All right, we're going to. Where's my thing gone? Why is that not?
What thing? Where's my thing gone?
There we go.
That's the wrong question to it. Oh, a red one now. You can specify your colours.
Oh, we're going to get copyright strikes on this.
Are we?
Yeah, filter
sweeps. Yeah. FFS, hashtag FFS, everybody.
Bit of overdrive.
Ow. Oh, heck.
So it's got linear FM in it too, has it? Different modes, yeah. It's not the best of videos, is it?
Well, I'm not blown away for 6,000 quid.
No, let's let me go back to us and we'll see if we can find a better video than that. That one's actually a bit naff, isn't it? There was another video.
Wagyu, only one VCO. Is it a complex VCO like a buckler style with wave folding and stuff like that in it? It sounded bucklerish, didn't it? Oh, that's beefier. Wow, that's big. Is that a Macbeth?
I think that might be, yeah. TR-808. I have no permission to play this video, so I do apologise.
What's that big thing?
Is that the Strymon?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, my first thought was like the Macbeth synth that Orbital have got.
So it's a quad modular
filter.
Yeah, I don't even know what that is. Anyway.
No.
So you did hear a little bit of it. Obviously, these things aren't made anymore, but let's see what the chatties say. Oh, I've got one of these, says someone in the chatties. Has anyone said? There's a few people know that people that have got one. Only has one VCO. Yeah. Interesting anyway.
And also said how much it was $6,000 on the
let's go back
eBay
to it.
ad.
Let's go back to it.
That was a lot.
That's US dollars.
Yeah.
So
Plus $135 shipping. Bloody hell. It's only a little box.
it's in the Netherlands, so it can't be that bad. All right, let's move on to the next one because it's the last one. And yes, we have the famous Andromeda. I actually don't think that price is too bad though. That's US.
No, I mean either, but it's a thing, isn't it? The Andromeda, but will it be working next week? It's always the question that you're going to have to ask with that. It looks. I mean, I remember when it came out and just lusted after that. I so wanted one of those.
That's what I asked about my
never going to be able to afford it. What you lust after them, please, Ranzee. Don't go down that path.
No, I'm asking if they'd be working next week. No,
that big French synth. What is going on? That big French synth means the river, doesn't he?
Yeah. The A6, Austin, Texas. By the way, big shout out to Switched On, who are in Austin, Texas. They're a good bunch of guys, and this is definitely not a scam. This is how much these actually go for. I always find Switched On about on the money with their used prices too. Oh, what was that? Andy,
not guilty of that. No, not guilty. That's not me. Definitely not me.
Where's that coming from?
Unmute me now.
I have no idea where that's coming from. That's weird.
That's definitely not me.
All right. Well, if it's not you, then we shall get rid of that image off there. And we finished Price Watch. Hooray! Yay! Hooray! Yeah.
Right. Synthetics just said he's in VMix. If you can jump in.
Oh, that's who it is. There he is.
That's who it is. Come on, Ranz, wakey. I know it's late.
It's not late. It's just me trying to look at 50,000 screens.
Yeah. Multitasking is your middle name. We know that.
There you go.
It's like juggling chainsaws, isn't it?
Hey, Andy's on.
Hey, hi, Andy.
Sorry about that.
That's right.
Hey.
Now let's.
So it's going to take me 10 minutes. It took forever. So.
Oh, okay. I didn't even see it.
Does it sound okay?
Yeah, the sounds. I've just knocked you down a little bit, but it's okay.
Yep.
The organ energizer. Do you know much about that? We were just showing that before.
No, I just found that. Thought it was amusing. I didn't have even time to research it. So
yeah,
it's just one of those wild cards.
I was trying to find the specs on it, and I closed that tab in my browser, and now I can't get it back. And for some reason, it's not showing in my history. It's just really weird. It's like it's just disappeared off the face of the earth. Anyway, doesn't matter. Nice to see you, Andy. Obviously,
Thanks, you too.
Let's go to you quickly. I think it's this button. Yeah, that worked.
Hey, real
you're
quick,
definitely not Dean Bridges.
I missed it.
You're definitely not Dean Bridges.
You missed it, but
definitely not Dean.
You talked about the Megatron.
Yes.
Or the Mega circuit. Have you guys used the Soulsby stuff at Megatron, things like that?
Oh, I like those Soulsby things when I've seen them at Synthfest, but I've never really had a chance to have a proper play on them. They always look great.
They're really nice. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that thing that we're talking about was the Scout. But I just found it really interesting. It was just kind of like this real that kind of whole feeling of when you buy your kid a toy or you buy your nephew or whatever. You know, someone at some stage has built a toy, right? And it kind of had that feeling about it. But in the end, it was a synth with a System 1 keyboard in it. No, it was a bad joke. But
I used to play around with weird Radio Shack stuff, and I bought an old metal detector, just a crappy metal detector, when I was a kid to play around. And I noticed as you changed the gain on it or the discriminating circuit, it was actually pulse width modulation.
Oh, right. That's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny.
Wow. Yeah, maybe they just forgot to fix that part of the circuit. I'm like, we'll just leave it.
Actually, I think it was part of the sound thing, but it sounded really great. I used to record on my cassettes with it and stuff. So
I love those little sort of quirky electronic mistakes. We did a show a while ago called Bugs in Synths. Do you guys remember that? Where we were talking about actual hardware bugs in synths and some of the quirkiness, that people find in their synths. That one probably should have made it on there, I reckon.
Ooh, spider in here.
My favorite bug was an old a Casio MT500. It was like my go-to thing for years. It had, just a kid, and there was a glitch, kind of like the old Atari glitches, where you would play with the power button, you get a glitch game. you could actually play with the power in and out of the MT500, and it would go into this arpeggiator mode, which is totally not correct, but it sounded amazing. I used to record some of that because I knew it wouldn't come back very often.
Those lovely things. Those lovely things. Okay, now I was going to do. I just need to get this next segment set up.
Well, while you're setting it up, can I ask Andy a question, if that's all right?
Go for it.
I'd like Andy to take us through the rack which is behind the keyboards. He's got the JP8000 and the other keyboard. There's a rack of stuff, and I'm trying to identify what the things are in there. And I'd like to. I think I spot a Kurtz vinyl at the top, but I'm not sure what the other things are. Could you tell?
You're talking about the very back with the light on?
Over your
right behind me,
right shoulder. Behind that to the right.
The rack,
down.
Yeah.
That stuff there. Yeah.
If I can get this stupid camera app working real quick here, I can actually put my camera over there. My little iPhone. But anyway, I can just point to it. So Kurzweil,
that'd be fine.
2500R.
Yeah. Right.
Then we got a Korg O1WR.
Right.
Korg M1R. Was it advanced?
So an O1W and an M1R. Right.
Yeah, and then below that.
So those old 80s things.
Yeah, it was even older stuff down below. Kurzweil 1200, which is the rack version of the. It's like the fancy version of the Kurzweil 1000. I was a huge K250 fan. I could never afford it. I used to watch Paul Schaefer play it on Letterman and stuff. But when I first started looking at them, they're like 16K for one of those things. So I got the rack finally. I had a keyboard. My first eBay experience, this is good buyer beware for people. I learned my lesson a long time ago, but one of my first eBay purchases ever was a K1000 keyboard. I was dying to get one. And it was a good deal. It came with a case and everything. And I didn't know about the eBay 30-day thing, where you basically have 30 days to complain or too bad. And so I got it, turned it on, had some of my favorite patches. There's a patch called Ligeti on there, which is cool. All this fun stuff. So I was playing with it and then, put it aside for a while. Finally went to play it for real one day and noticed a whole bunch of bum keys, like they were bad sensors or something like that. I'm like, oh no. And then I looked at the date after I was going to complain, and it had lapsed. It had been like 40 days or something like that. So eBay will not give you the address or any contact information of anybody after that period, no matter what you try to do. So there are other times that I was able to fight things, but this was one time I got burned. Yeah. And I actually contacted the Kurzweil guy who still knew about the ancient stuff, and he was going to send me a sensor pack. And I took it apart, and I was like, oh, this isn't too bad, because I took apart my O1W keyboard once and fixed a couple of the bushings on there and stuff. But I took the Kurzweil apart too early and didn't take pictures. I didn't know how to put it back together, so I basically said, forget it. And I'm going to get a rack. So I got a K1000 rack, the PX1000, and the K1200. That covered everything. So,
all right.
Let that be
caveat emptor.
Buyer beware.
Oops, I'm used to pressing that
button.
button.
When you have a problem, don't wait.
Well, we shall go into the next segment because we haven't done this one for a little while. So let's roll the stinger.
Oh, hey. Woohoo!
Yes, and we do have some rants. Well, one sort of rant this week. I do ask people to jump into the Discord channel, which is called Rants, to chuck your rants in if you are on Discord. It's an easy one to do. Anyway, what we'll do is we'll go to, which camera is it? Which camera is it? It's this camera. Bang. So my rant this week is I'm going to talk about power supplies. And the first one is to talk to Mr. Korg. Mr. Korg, why the hell do you make your power supplies so that they sit to the left or to the right of the socket? So what is that going to do in a multi-socket power board? It's going to cover up.
Absolutely right.
The next power board. I mean, like, what sort of Muppet would design something like that? So, like, it's just... I can't plug something next to it.
Grumble.
You know what I mean?
No,
Like they just.
a
Sorry,
Roland,
this.
yeah, absolutely.
If you're wondering what, no, you haven't found aliens. This is the Australian type of power adapter. So yes, we are a bit weird. We have angles here in Australia. Anyway, the other one is to Mr. Roland, or Mrs. Roland. I don't really know these days. And that is, what the hell are these little wings? What purpose are these little wings on the side of the power supply, other than making it impossible for me to put that one next to it because it's friggin'. So what do? I get the knife out and I cut them off. So, Mr. Roland, stop it with your wings. And Mr. Korg, stop it with your lefty and your righties. There you go. Rant over.
Yeah. No,
it's fun doing this, Rants.
No, Rants is definitely not over because I am absolutely the same. Those Korg ones, because they do it here in the UK as well. It's exactly the same, and it drives me nuts. Well, I've got to work out where I'm going to put the bloody Korg power supplies on a power board so that they point in opposite directions. Oh, absolutely right. And yeah, thank you, Ranzee. When I actually mentioned power supplies earlier, I had no idea that was coming. I really didn't. And it was funny because I used to. Oh,
it was a surprise.
God, not another bloody wall wart. Not another wall wart. And now, well, yeah. Power supplies. They seem like a thing of joy compared to USB. I have to be honest about that. And it was oh god, it's USB power, please no.
But when you go to the shop, right, and you're buying one of those multi-port power adapter boards, right, so that you can
plug straight lines.
So now we have to buy these extra wide ones, and because some idiots make these really big, chunky, wide wall warts. So I just find. There needs to be a little bit more thought that goes into whoever's manufacturing power supplies.
Yeah, Sasquatch has just said, or Yamaha.
So, which one will go first? We'll go with Andy first.
Yeah, go with Andy.
Oh, sorry. No, I was just going to say the inline power stuff's the best. The smart guys actually have a proper lead with the 2 prongs or the 3 prongs on a cable off of the box, and then another cable going to your equipment. Because even these small things, like the camera, I don't have the other camera set up, but even these small things, you can see the different orientation of the prongs.
Yep.
Even on like an Apple charger and this little USB charger thing, they can't even be consistent with these things.
Yeah, it's just stupid.
So
there's no
you have
no
to buy
thought.
those power strips with the special wall wart sections.
Yeah, exactly. You got
You only get like 2 or 3 of those usually. So
yeah. Brooksy, what were you going to say before you take your drink?
I've completely forgotten. Oh, never mind.
You're a wally.
It's got old age in action.
Sorry about that. That was my fault.
Let's go to the chatties.
Don't worry, Andy. Really, don't worry.
Ken doesn't want me to mention anything about MIDI packs. So don't worry, Ken. I won't talk about them.
MIDI packs, MIDI chord packs. Yeah, please do a rant about MIDI chord packs. Yeah, please, MIDI chord packs. I said no, I don't want a MIDI chord pack, and then I tried it, and it was ace because it plays a D minor inverted 7th.
Yeah.
Sod off.
Yeah, look, I've just made another one hit with my MIDI pack.
Yeah. Oh, I'm with you, Ken.
Instant song
I hate
hits.
them.
Yeah.
They drive me to distraction as well. So yeah, Ken, you got to come on and have a rant
version of the
about
talent button.
Yes. Oh dear.
By the way, if you are watching the show for the first time, this is what we call Saturday Sonority. This is our Saturday Sonority segment that we are just going to spin a bit of crap about synth talk and I don't know, chew the fat, whatever you guys want. Really, I'm leaving the show open. We can have a nice
chuck us some questions, folks, in the chat. Not that we can necessarily answer.
Keep it flexible. Yeah, we might be completely bedazzled by your question. So yeah, chatties, just flag my name. Easiest way to do it at Ranzee to make it easy for me to see it if it's scrolling. It's scrolling relatively good. I can actually keep an eye on it. Yeah, so if you want to ask us anything, like you want to ask Andy or Brooksy, or God forbid me, a question, chuck it into the chat. Ken's asking why the ASM Hydrosynth power supply cord is only a foot long. Yeah, I don't, anything to do with power supplies, I reckon you don't even have to look hard. You will find something to rant about with power supplies. I've got a Sony camera that I use, a 4K Sony camera, and the the little 2-prong socket to the mains connector was only that long, and then there's the little transformer part, and then there's just a really massive long DC cable at the other end. And I'm thinking, like, what logic are we thinking about having this tiny, this massive big long one? It just doesn't make sense. And yeah, anyway, people are just crazy. We shall.
So the problem with USB stuff is they think it's going to be by your computer, and that's why they think, oh, you don't need a long cable for that.
Yeah, yeah.
But I actually like USB powered stuff because you can run a really long USB cable for like controllers and things, like 20 feet away sometimes, you know.
Hey, Andy, while we got you there, Sims asked you a question.
Yeah.
Have you seen the, I'll spell it to you, ERAE touch MIDI controller? ERAE.
Oh, yeah. I actually have, but it was a while ago. I think there was a recent news item about it because it's either already out or it's coming out soon. I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank on it a little bit, but I have seen it. It's kind of like an iPad kind of thing, or is it buttons?
Let's see if this is what he's talking about. Let's go to here. Is this it?
Oh, the thing that looks like a seaboard block. Right.
Looks a bit like one, doesn't it? It looks similar.
Yeah.
So that could be it, without giving them a free plug.
Yeah, I mean, if it's durable to play sticks like the guy's showing, that's pretty nice, because a lot of stuff really is not that durable. So.
Yeah. Actually, I have to admit, Andy, a lot of people said that they would love to see a part 2 to that show that we did last week. So we'll have
I'd love to do it.
Yeah, we'll have to organise it, definitely. Now, I spoke to Andrew Mee, who was the other guy that was on last week as well, the Australian guy, and he's saying that he wants to show some of the DIY stuff that he's built himself. So we'll see if we can organise something in the near future, definitely.
Yeah, I'd like to see his stuff too, because I used to make stuff and it wasn't so good. So I want to see a professional do it.
He's shown a couple of things. Yeah, go Brooksy.
So I was going to say, one thing I'd love to see was actually, and I appreciate that it takes a lot of setting up and having different ins and outs from them, but I'd like to see some of these actually in action and how you use them and the effect that they have on the production of the music, you know, or the performance of music. That I think that would be great. So a second MIDI controllers thing would be useful. I mean, I'm definitely happy to say sit that one out and just watch, because it's not an area that I know really anything about. So
yeah, I didn't really, unfortunately, have time to hook everything up last time, so it's more of a show and tell thing. But I'm glad to hook some stuff up and actually twiddle live so you can hear what it's actually doing. That'll
be really cool. I'm sure we'd enjoy that.
Yeah,
I kind of feel that we needed to, though, because there was a lot to go through. Do you know what I mean? Like, and if we did show and tell as well as demo, it would have been like a 5-hour show. So I kind of feel like it was
quite. We'll just pick a couple, and if Andy picks a couple, and we can then watch, and then there's a chance for asking questions. Can I move back to sort of power supplies, if that's all right? I mean, because an interesting comment from Daniela, she mentioned about the EU and the UK rejoining the EU and adopting European power standards. My reply to that was actually the UK's got better power than the EU does, and one of the things that the UK really is to be proud of is how good and how safe our electricity supplies are, and those plugs are actually amongst the safest in the world for general domestic use. But they're a bloody nuisance in terms of their size. Sasquatch says, yeah, until you stand on one. Yeah, that's true. I was interested because I wanted to ask Andy, exactly. Yeah, and you suddenly got 3 holes in your foot. About Andy and US power, because I know a lot of people that are running sort of system, like in here, where you've got a number of different devices all running. You almost have to run it through power conditioners and stuff. Is this true, or am I just making that up?
So I as far as like gigging musicians and guys going to various venues that you just can't trust anything. I know those Furman power conditioners are very popular. They have been forever. I've never had one. There was a brief period I was going to actually do a couple of live gigs with a friend in a previous project we had at a local weird club, but I never actually got a chance to do it. So I don't have the actual experience going out and trying the weird venues and the weird situations. I've never had any problems other than, obviously like guitars can have ground loops and things like that. But I fortunately never experienced the problem except for the USB sound the ground loop problem that people have. I've had that a few times. That's unfortunately they don't. I mean, you have to go through. I know sometimes the DI box helps, but even that isn't perfect.
See that we did a show. Yeah. We did a show on ground loop noise. It was probably like 2 years ago, maybe even 3 years ago, and we were talking about DI boxes. I brought some of the Jensen based. What do you call it? Forget the name. It starts with an R. Radial, the brand. Anyway,
Radial.
Yeah. And they use the Jensen, lifters, and I mean, when you're having to buy really expensive kind of things like that, just because people don't know how to make electronics, usable, especially in the music industry, I think it's almost a crime to make a synthesizer that introduces like electrical noise into your audio feed. I think it's a crime, and that sort of stuff should not even happen in our industry, especially if you're paying good money for this gear and it's reputable brands as well. So I mean,
I think part of the problem is it's a bunch of tech nerds in a room testing it. Everything works great. The QA checks out, and now we give it to real people, and they go, "Hey, you didn't even check this stuff. Where's the real world testing?"
Yeah. I mean, the funniest thing, if you're looking at ways to sort of see how weird this gets, I've seen guys who have got their BeatStep Pro connected and they're getting little electrical zaps on the ports on the back, and it's stuff like that, and it shouldn't happen. Yeah, we talked about it.
Yeah, I had it. Yeah, a couple of weeks ago. I was going, what? Oh, I don't like. Oh, that's not good. Oh, yeah. That is very peculiar. I mean, that we shouldn't get that sort of thing. As soon as I unplugged the BeatStep Pro, it stopped. So I mean, now I always have my BeatStep Pro plugged in via a dedicated power supply with a USB thing on it, and that seems to solve that. And I don't get ground hum loops when I do it that way. But it's like, what? That should not happen.
No, it's stupid. Yeah. Anyway, I shall go to some of the questions that have been popping in, because that's what we asked them to do.
Yeah, well, I wasn't looking, but we had some.
So Sim said, any tips for recording and editing a time-lapse, setting up a home studio from scratch? I feel like I need to give back to YouTube as it's helped me so much. Yeah, I know what he's talking about. So, I honestly think there's some really, even your mobile phone can do time-lapse now. So if you're just looking at something really basic on the cheap, you can get something to hold your mobile phone, like a little mobile phone holder, and then you can sort of put that on a little mini tripod or something, and you can have that and just run the time-lapse features inside your camera on your phone. Or, sorry, I should say cell phone for the people in the US. Or... the other option is the GoPros. GoPros are absolutely brilliant for that sort of stuff. So if you can afford to go get yourself a cheap GoPro, it only has to be 1080p. Doesn't have to be anything fancy, but you can get in 4K. The Hero 7s are now used, really cheap now used. They're really good. Hero 5, Hero 7 are really good versions of GoPros. They've got excellent time-lapse settings on them. I've done videos on my channel where I've mounted it on my dash and recorded a trip and with the kids, and then I've used that as part of a song. It's great fun doing that sort of stuff. So GoPros would probably be my pick if you can afford it. Guys, do you have any other suggestions?
Not me. I don't know anything about it. Sorry.
Actually, so if you're using an iPhone, excuse me, iTimelapse is really good. I've been using that for years. Has a lot more fancy features than the built-in iPhone version, but the iPhone version on the camera app is decent. I used to do time-lapse on my old Canon XL2. It kind of had a weird mode where, because it's videotape, so it would actually do an okay version, and then you just speed it up and post a little bit more. or slow it down a little bit more in post, or like you were saying, Ranzee, with the GoPro, you don't even have to put it in time-lapse mode. If you have a giant card and tons of power, just run normal video and just speed it up later.
Yeah, you can do that.
You have a choice between your videos.
Yep. Yeah, and then you've got footage that you can use as well. So you can go
totally.
Go between real footage and time lapse. That's definitely
the
a way
best
to go.
thing if you have the space.
Yeah. And the other thing too is if you've got a more elaborate setup where you might have a capture card, you've got an unlimited recording, limited to your hard drive space on your computer, but you could be doing something like that as well. Yeah, good question. Great questions. Let's see if we can get some more sort of music techie type questions though. Don't forget Andy's doing a gig in a week's time, so you might want to ask Andy about what he's got planned with his setup.
Yeah, I'd like to hear about that. What are you doing for that?
Well, I can sort of show. The problem will be the microphone, because the microphone's on a boom stand here, and the setup is over here. Well, I'll see what I can manage.
When you get that ready, let us know. What I could do while we're waiting for Andy is, let me just turn this off. I just want to show you guys. I think I mentioned this last week. So, right, here we go. I need to unplug some stuff first. Give me a sec. This thing is built like a proverbial tank. So I'm actually struggling to lift that up. It is the new Isla Instruments S2400 sampler. This thing is incredibly well made in Florida in the US. Big congratulations to Brad and Isla, of course, his daughter. That's the connectivity on the back. I just thought I'd show you guys that. It's focusing on my face. Don't focus on my face. It's finding my face. There we go. The connectivity on the back is actually really interesting, especially, where are we? Over here where you've got the phono inputs. I just want to put this down because I'm actually struggling to hold it up. The phono inputs on this is actually really cool because one of the two stereo pairs that you've got there is filtered like the old system was, and the other one is clean. So you can get that real sort of older sort of school sampling sound from the 80s and 90s out of it. The connectivity on it is amazing as well. So what I want to do is, guys, you need to give me a little bit of time with this because it's brand new for me. I've had it for a while. I haven't had it for a while, I'm saying. And maybe give me a week or two. And then I do want to show, for those who haven't seen videos and things like that, you can watch. But I just kind of want to show some, from my point of view, how I would use it and what I would do with it. And I think it's going to be fun. I'm just with the little bit that I've used so far, it's blown me away because the workflow is different to an MPC, it's different to an Octatrack, it's different to other forms of samplers as well. I think Andy's ready, so we'll go across to him. Over to you, Andy. Sorry, Brooksy. What am I saying? You ready there, Brooksy? We can't hear him.
I think so. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can.
I've just unwired the mic. Not quite sure what we can sort of see on all of this, but the way I've got it set up at the moment is I've got my two Electribes here, the Electribe Synth, and over this side the Electribe Sampler, with a BeatStep Pro in the middle. And the BeatStep Pro is controlling the modular system, which is here in front of me. I've got the modular system currently set up to be a 2 oscillator patch on the green channel 1, and a single oscillator patch on the yellow channel 2. The drums are coming out of the BeatStep Pro and going into the QD module, which is here. So there's some drums coming out of that. Most of the drum sounds in the set are being provided by the Electribes, either from the synth or the sampler. The sampler is basically doing lots of sort of speech and effect sounds and stuff, and basically that's the system. The problem I had initially was when starting a pattern on the Electribe, These two pads here on the Electro, I don't know if you can see that. Can you see that now? There we go. The one with that blue light on, that's pad 1. That's channel 1. Okay, so that is transmitting on channel 1, and this one is transmitting on channel 2.
Yep.
And it's linked via MIDI to the BeatStep Pro, which is then passing that MIDI out as control voltage on channel 1 and channel 2 of these. So what I've had to do is I've had to change the MIDI channels of these so that they don't work. So now on this Electribe, channel 15, 16, and 17, no, 14, 15, 16. There aren't 17 MIDI channels, Andy. How long have you been doing this? Come on, wake up, lad. So channels 14, 15, and 16 on the Electribe synth are not being used. So there's no data on those, on any of the patterns. So that it means that these are now clean and the BeatStep Pro is running happily in sync. One thing I couldn't find in the MIDI control center was a way of switching MIDI channels off. You can't have an off. You've got to be on something or other. So I've decided, right, that's the solution. Those are not doing anything. I've got enough stuff going on. It's not important. I can manage it. So that's how this is working at the moment. Over to the right-hand side of the rack, you can see that that's the Behringer D. I've taken that out of the rack because the rack is now essentially full of System 100 and other modules. So that's going to be in there. The D is only going to be triggered from the 960 sequencer. The 960 sequencer here. Can we see this all right? Can we? I'm not sure.
I can just see the 960. Yeah. You might have to move it.
See it? Is that right? Move it around a bit. How's that? Is that better? Is that worse?
No, the other way.
Showing a picture of my floor.
There you go. The other way.
Well, there we go.
Yeah.
Sort of that's going to have to do. So the 960 sequence, which is here, that is only triggering the D. So I've got that coming out with sequences off that for a bit of live improv as and when. I've ummed and ahed about putting other things into the system. What I'm also going to have, when it arrives on Monday, I've ordered a couple of X stands to lift this up, so that this will actually be at a suitable height for me when I'm standing rather than sitting. And underneath it, I'm going to have the Supernova. I'm going to take that with me, so I've got a live keyboard to play as well. Because one of the things I realised very, very quickly was I need the keyboard in there to play, and that's going to sit sort of underneath here for me to actually just play live keyboards as well, because I've got to play for an hour. That's the thing that's sort of slightly freaking me out. I've sort of got it set up so that at the minute I've got about 35 minutes plus an improvised sort of slightly Berlin school section using the 960 and the Model D and various samples and stuff. So I can sort of spin it out to about 45 minutes. How I'm going to get these extra 15 in it, I'm not sure. I'm a bit concerned that an hour might just be a bit too long. I might have bitten off more than I can chew. But at the minute, it's all sort of working quite cheerfully together, where the pre-prepared stuff from the Electribes is sitting comfortably with the more live improv stuff coming from the BeatStep Pro and the 960. So I'm quite happy with it. It's quite a simple setup. None of the sounds that are coming out of the modular are anything that will blow modular experts out of the water. I mean, I realise that what I've actually done in the modular system is I've recreated a Pro 1 and an SH-101 just like the good old days. I've basically gone back to just being with what I am comfortable with. I know that looking around it, you could say, oh, you should have had the MPC. The MPC would do all this. You won't need all that. But I don't know it well enough. I don't know it well enough, and I'm not comfortable enough.
I'm not going to say it.
I'm not comfortable enough. So, I mean, I know you say you've had it a year. Surely you should know it by now. But no. I'm not comfortable enough with it for this live set. When I was asked to do it, I'd basically got a month in which to get myself ready, and I thought there ain't no way that I can do that. I've got to go with what I know, and that means that I'll be, I've got muscle memory. I'm happy in at least.
No, do what you're comfortable with.
if the modular bit goes tits up, if the modular bit goes a bit wrong, I can always go back to the Electribes. I know what I'm doing with those quite happily. So
Andy,
that's me and my live setup. Yep.
Did you see? There's a guy who is part of the ProSynth Network Facebook group called Manny Fernandez. You've probably even seen him on the show.
Yeah. He's been in the chat today. Synth is in the chat.
Yeah, beautiful. So without his permission, I'm just going to show you what he did with his Behringer Go case, and you've probably already seen this, but there is what he did. What he's got gorgeous. 2 Behringer Go cases. Well, 3 of them. Yeah, there's 3. And so this is what the actual shelf thing looks like. So you can fit the 2 cases on the shelf, and then you can fit the other one below it there. So that gives you some ideas.
I'm going to mute my mic now and say, hey, Manny, that's gorgeous. So much for FM. That's amazing. We like that a lot.
So much for FM. Yeah, he's the FM guy. Big shout out to Manny too, by the way. So I thought that was genius. Yeah, there he's in the chat. Beautiful. So there was a couple of questions that came out while you were doing your thing, Andy. So when you're shout out when you're ready, and I'll ask them to you, because there was a few questions about your setup and what you were going to do with certain things. Kent's asked you to do some stand-up comedy at the end of your improv. I don't know. I think Kent wants to go so he can throw tomatoes at you. I'm not sure.
I was going to say, Andrew can do some crazy stuff with one of these mid-air controllers. You can go off the script and walk around the building.
Yeah. And make sounds come out.
Well, I think I'm back up. Well, I do a comedy sort. Thanks, Kent. I don't know if you're being seriously ironic or what there, but yeah, stand-up comedy. Yeah, we'll see. And as for those live control, what wafting me arms with, that'd be ace. What I need is definitely D-beams, handheld controllers, a theremin, and all sorts of. Oh, there's my barefoot. Look, woo, hello barefoot. There you go.
Well, Goose asked, are you going to unplug all that spaghetti before?
Oh no! It's going to be patched. It's all going to be pre-patched. One job is to. All the things which will have to be unpatched, for example, the stuff from the back of the BeatStep Pro, will all have to be labelled up. So that's a job for this week: is labelling all the cables so that I can just go like that, and plug them in.
And take lots of photos.
Is that well, actually, no, that's not me. It's a case of just simply labelling them up. Once I've labelled them up, I'll be absolutely fine. The main sort of voice patching will stay as it is. So I mean, I've got various modulations already pre-patched in there, so that I can sort of wig it out a little bit if I want to, so noise cross-modulating the filter and that sort of thing. But I'm still tweaking that. So all of those things will stay in place. So that all I have to do is reach and turn the control. I am not going to be involved in sort of mid-gig live patching, just in case you actually, because you know what it's like with modular. You plug one thing in and suddenly you've got no sound anymore. Where did it all disappear? Why has that happened?
Brooksy, there's some good suggestions coming from everyone. Pete said just solder it all into place.
Yeah, thanks, Pete. Good suggestion, mate. Yeah. What's the next one going to be?
Native VS wants you to get a multi-core just for the beat step. Max suggested that.
I've created my own. I've done it already. I'm going to sort of tie the cables together with cable ties and make my own little multi-core.
I don't know if Mac's watching, but Max suggested that a few months ago. Either it was to me or to you. I can't remember now. There's a specific setup that you can get that handles your beat step with all the cables and everything. If he's in chat still, he'll pipe in a second. Tell us what that is.
Well, I've got all the cables, and they're all sort of they're all going to be cable tied together anyway. So I know there are things you can get, but it's just going to stay there like that.
Yeah.
Actually, I had a question. Does that case have a cover for it so you can leave it patched?
Oh no, it doesn't have a cover. That's one of the downs. So you can get like a plastic cover for it, a third-party one, but it's too short notice now. Okay. I'm just going to leave it patched, bung it in the box it came.
Here we go.
I'm only driving down the road, Andy. So yeah.
Max told you what it's called for the BeatStep Pro. It's called the Plum It's called the Plum Audio Rack Plumber. So
Plum
I might
Audio Rack Plumber.
I've actually checked this out. It's actually pretty cool. I'm going to grab it up on the screen.
Okay, well, can I ask Matt? Can you just post me a link of that in Facebook if you do? Because I'm interested, but at the minute I bought a load of cable ties at Lidl, and I'm going to.
Oh yeah, this is cool. All right, let's have a look at this. So let's get rid of all this crap that's popping up. So basically, this is like your rack plumber, right? And it uses a HDMI cable. I don't know if there's any other photos of this thing.
Asio using WIDI. No, I'm not using WIDI. Asio, no, I'm not.
Is there another photo of this thing? I'm sure there's another photo somewhere where it actually shows this thing. Hang on, let me see if I'll go back here for a sec. Let me see if I can find it. There's a really good photo of this, how it all kind of links up to your BeatStep Pro. Just give me a sec.
It's kind of like those RJ45 buses where you can do that with.
It definitely looks interesting. Mark says, I'm using the rack plumber with my SQ64. Works great. Well, I'll need to investigate that more. I don't know anything about that at the minute, Andy. So I'll definitely have to check it out. So Stephen, if you can ping me that in Facebook and a link, I'll definitely check it out. But it's going to be too short notice for next Sunday now. But for now, definitely just old-fashioned method, old school labels and cable ties. Yeah, just like doing an old-fashioned gig. Yeah, it'd be great.
This is why I bought those IntelliGel 7U cases, because although they're kind of expensive, you can set and forget covers on them and transport them. And I like portable stuff, so. As little as I use my modular lately, it's something fun. Yeah.
All right, so I found the other link. So that's basically the kit that you get. I wish I could zoom in a little bit more on this. So you get there's the module, and it uses a HDMI cable, and then you can see all the patch leads that come out the back into your. And there's another photo which shows you BeatStep.
Yeah. Nice. Actually.
Where is the other photo?
Is it a kit? You have to make it.
No, I can't find it.
If it's all assembled, that would be great.
Yeah, it's all assembled. Just give me a sec. I'll find the other photo. There's another photo where it shows the actual BeatStep. Where's that gone? Max. Stop being a silly Mac. Have I just lost all of my...
Andy, you say you're okay for 45 minutes, but just spend another 15 minutes closing down all your system and slowly fade to a conclusion. Yeah, absolutely. And just turn up the feedback on your delays and you're sorted, mate. Yeah, that's it.
Open image in you.
Oh, that's wicked. What's that?
This will save you time.
Everything you need for a gig.
QI100.
Yeah, absolutely. Rack plumber. I mean, that's gorgeous, isn't it? Yeah.
See how it's all labelled?
Yeah. I'm going to have to check. Right, yeah, definitely interested in that. But it's not going to be before next Sunday. So
sorry, Andy. What were you showing? You were showing something.
I was just saying this will save him some time. Just take this, and you're all set. So.
Yeah, I mean,
might be a bit boring.
To be honest, the truth is, I could probably just take one of the Electribes and do a set with just one of them. You know, but.
Actually, all jokes aside, this thing is pretty damn powerful, even though it's samples.
Yeah.
I hooked a Kenton Spin Doctor to it once and mapped all the CCs, and you can do filter sweeps and all kinds of stuff with it. When you dial it all in, it's actually pretty powerful.
I got no objection to things like that. I mean, those sort of QY things that from Yamaha, those really, really early, I suppose you call them groove boxes. They were the first ones. I mean, you know, sort of Korg gets a bit of credit. Yamaha gets, Roland gets a bit of credit for that. The MC303, but these QY things predated them by years, and they're actually quite funky. But yeah, no, I know that I can use stuff to play back music for, you know, yeah, I just press the play button. I do not want this to be just pressing play and standing back and going, yeah, look at that, there's a nice tune. I've got to perform it. I've got to be hands-on with the lot, because if I'm not, I'll get bored, and it doesn't feel like a performance then. I mean, I know that you got the MPC up there. It's theoretically possible to program a whole lot, stick WAVs in it, press play, and off it goes, and no one will know any different. But I will, and that's the difference. I need to be able to perform it, and I know that the MPC is also a performance device. I'm not knocking it for that. I'm talking about, I remember in the good old days when I was lugging all that gear around to various venues, my Atari ST and these samplers and synths, and wiring it all up and play it. You've seen the videos before, you know I've done that. That's because that to me is genuine. And I'd be standing next to guys who would have a keyboard and a DAT machine, and I'd go, sod off, that's not real. That you know, and you're getting paid 350 quid for doing your gig, and I've got 50, thanks. You know, I used to really get on my wick. Oh, you've got too much gear there, mate. You want to do it like this? Okay, right. If you're doing a gig in a different city every night of the week, you want to make it as simple for yourself as you can. There's no way I could have done what I was doing back in the 90s every night of the week in a different city. It would have just been unworkable. I know that, but I still feel that there's a truth behind having the instruments there to perform with, and that's why I've done it like this. There are things that I can be hands-on with, either with a keyboard, I can turn on and play it, or mute buttons, bringing things in and out, knobs that I can twiddle. In fact, I've no idea how it's all going to pan out. I've no idea. You know, okay, I've got some idea because some of the ideas and the riffs and the patterns that are pre-prepared and so on. Some of them going back decades. Going to do my old typo track will be in there. That's an old video that I've had. So I just want it to perform. It's got to be.
The guys in chat, Andy, are talking about this at the moment. If you're following them, they're talking about the Korg SQ64.
Well, absolutely, yeah. Got my eyes on one of those, but also the Keystep Pro is also something that I've got my beady eyes on too. I'm loving the BeatStep Pro has really come to life with the modular system. It really has. I mean, you know, I've said before, I bought the BeatStep Pro to control these bloody Volcas up here because I hate the sequences on those, and I never got on with it. It was sitting down here in front of me. I used to play it every night. As soon as I plugged it into the modular system, it seems to have opened itself up and breathed new life, and I love it. So now I'm definitely. My head is definitely into the Arturia way of doing it. So I like the idea of the SQ64, but I think the Arturia Keystep Pro may well be a future investment. You know, definitely, as it's polyphonic as well.
So it's actually interesting. In Australia, where I live, it's only $30 more to get the SQ64 in a retail shop. So
than a BeatStep Pro.
Then a BeatStep Pro. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, in which case you'd go for you'd go for the SQ64.
It's a no-brainer. I mean, I've already got a BeatStep Pro, so I'm not going to go and get one. But if you were in that decision,
if you're making a choice now, if you're in decision mode, do I buy a BeatStep Pro or do I buy an SQ64? You buy an SQ64 without a doubt. I've got the BeatStep Pro already, like you have. So
yeah, and like you say. You know, when you mix it up with some of the other gear, like your Electrobes and stuff, it's plenty. It's plenty. You've got your three sequences on that, plus
it works well.
Yeah, it's plenty.
Nice thing about the BeatStep Pro is it's a proper pad controller too. So if you're doing some drummy stuff or one shots, it's really nice.
Yeah,
yeah, it works really nice, Andy. Yeah, it's like I said, it's just become a new tool. It's got a whole new lease of life. As soon as I shifted it over here, I'm stuck in front of the modular. It's like, oh my god, I can do this with it. Oh, this will work. And really, really, really. I think I bought 3 years ago, and now it's coming to life. So maybe the same thing will happen with the MPC next year. Who knows? Hey?
The Keystep 37 is nice too, with the chord modes and the extra goodies on there.
Well, with the MPC, Andy, I mean, we've been talking about this for ages.
We talk a lot. Yeah, we have. It's lack of effort on my part recently, to be honest.
But I think what we need to do is we need to do a show where we'll get Lisa on, we'll have me, anyone else who's got an MPC that's, maybe we'll get, what's his name? Memory slip. Anyway, we'll get a few MPC
Ave
people.
McCree.
Will, that's who I'm thinking of. We'll get Will on. And, we'll get a few people on who are MPC heads, like MPC lovers.
To browbeat me.
No, and just get you in front of it and just get you to, to do some stuff and show you where things are. I think that's all you need.
I appreciate that. It's not so much that. I mean, I have been using it. I have been playing with it, and I've been doing more with it. I've created my own patterns and stuff, but it's still the lack of familiarity and the lack of comfort. So at the moment, I don't feel as comfortable with the MPC as a machine that I could just turn to. in a gig situation, if I turn around here with the Electribes, I know those, I know them inside out, I know what to do, and that's the only reason that these are here right now. In the process of all of this, I realised that actually now this is probably their last hurrah, if you like, and when this gig is done, these will be boxed up, put away, and I will have to force myself to get familiar with this, because this is only a temporary move up here. This is the intention that this moves over to the other side. You'll see that things have sort of like migrated from this side of the room where they all were over now to this side of the room. So that it's all changing. But I need to have a rethink in here about the way things are set up. And this is, again, it's only a small room. It's a bit like, Darren's mentioned, it's only 8 feet by 8 feet, I think. It's basically a cube. It's the world's worst acoustic space. So, but we'll just move everything out and have a rethink about how it all integrates. At the moment, see, one of the things I've really enjoyed is the integration of this stuff over here. I've really enjoyed just being able to go, oh, right, what if I do this? Oh, that works. That's great. I like that. And I go over here and go, it's just all this stuff, and then I've got to move it. It's strange. It's the simplicity of this has been a joy, a real joy. Yep. And I'm quite keen to keep that. I've got no problem with, say, taking the Electribes out and sticking the MPC in as a new central brain, if you like. But it is going to need some work and effort. There's no doubt about it.
Oh, look, we're all in good time.
I was going to say, don't feel guilty, Brooksy, because I haven't used my force at all lately. So I know we had a challenge a while back. And I haven't done anything.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's time, it's effort, it's inclination, and sometimes, for example, when I get home from work, the last thing I want to be doing is actually, Rants in a box. Is it? Yeah, Andy. It's all right. Retired.
Andy's not there. Andy, hello, Andy.
Has he gone?
I don't know.
Is he frozen?
My force is sitting unplugged at the moment, but only because I'm in the middle of just doing some rearranging.
You've got that SP thing. You've got that lovely.
Well, the force usually sits there, but yeah, I'm doing some rearranging at the moment, and I have to admit,
the force be with you, Andy. Andy?
I have to admit, though, the force, I want to plug it in and put it back as soon as I can, because it's actually a major part of my workflow when I'm making tracks, and I'm missing it because the way I use it, it's basically all the Eurorack modular stuff that I've got, it goes into the force, and then I make clips of all the weird, wonderful things that I'm doing in modular, and then those clips are permanently stored on an SD card, and I can use them in all sorts of different other projects. So once you've got them recorded as little clips, you can speed them up, slow them down, reverse them, muck around with them. And I just find the force just such a beautiful workflow for that sort of style of music creation. And I mean, obviously, right now I'm learning the S2400, but see, with the S2400, it's really all that sort of stuff that you would, how would you say it? What you would expect a sampler to do from the early days, it's right in front of you. Like, so the speeding up of the pitch, the slowing down, the reversing, the low pass gating, that sort of stuff, and the filters on it are analog. So all that sort of stuff is there at your fingertips, and you don't have to menu dive or anything to get to that. So that's the advantage of the S2400. And on top of that, it's got multi-mode, where so you can get a sample. It only uses the same sample track, but then it splits it out over the 8 pads, so your 8 tracks, and then you can use different you could have different pitches, you could have different levels. Say it might be a hi-hat, you can just quickly sequence different leveled hi-hats through your track. It's so quick and easy to do that sort of stuff. And so these are all the things that I want to learn how to do. So when I show you guys, I can do some basic stuff and show you guys just really how quick the workflow is on it. And I find once you know how we sometimes say, I don't like the Electron operating systems because they're hard to sort of get your head around. Some people say the same thing about MPCs. One of the things I think a lot of people will find is common ground with the S2400. I think a lot of people will find that the interface is actually not one of those. I think it's one that everyone will find relatively easy to use, which is actually a big bonus for them. So yeah, we'll see where we go with it. But one of the, for
I'm
me,
actually dying to get mine. I hope I'm in the next batch. But,
I hope so. Yeah. So for me,
I'm an Emu fanboy, so I love the workflow, and he's done so much more with it than the Emu had. So
yeah, of course. Yeah, I was just going to say, for me, I might find that I might want to resample an arrangement that I've got on the Force, or I might do the other way around. I might want to put something from the S2400 as a clip into the Force. So I'm going to be using these things in connection with each other, and it depends on, what I decide I come up with. And a lot of people will say to me, "Oh, you've got all these different samplers. Do you need them all?" Well, maybe not. But for me, it's kind of finding that use of samples. It's a big love of mine. I've always been a big sample person. So it's a bit like someone asking you, you've got 30 synths in your studio at home there, or at your studio, and saying
that's never enough.
Do you have enough? Why do people ask, do I have enough samplers? Like, you can never have enough. So there you go.
Like guitar players, they have racks and racks of guitars on the wall, and guitar effects and stuff. And
you got it.
Yeah, and they all sound like guitars. It's amazing, isn't it? That guitar sounds just
Where's
like
Chris?
that guitar.
We need to get Chris on the show.
Sorry, Chris.
Actually, I'll defend Chris because they do sound very different, but I'm just not very good at playing.
Yeah, we know they do. I'm sorry, I'm being an arse.
I've got 4 of them sitting over there, and I use them. So you guys know that I use them too. So I'm never going to say a bad thing about guitars. I'm
only envious because I can't play guitar.
I actually love guitars, putting guitars in my tracks. I actually find that I tend to like the tracks more that I put guitars in than the ones without. That's just me. I've always been a big fan.
It's so hard to fake guitar. Yeah,
when you think about
keyboard is really tough.
Oh, you can't. You just can't. Keyboard guitars. I'm sorry. All those people.
Guitars.
Don't do it.
Maybe 5 people in the world can do it.
Guitars
right.
Guitars are fine. It's when you use a guitar to pretend to be a guitar. That's bad. Use your guitar to do an absolute wigged out mini Moog solo. Fine. Pretend to be Keith Emerson on you. Woo, yeah, absolutely. But don't. No, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, kind of where I was going with it was, I'm sort of thinking back to my childhood when I started to learn how much I love the synth sounds, right? And a lot of people, and I think, if I remember rightly, I think Mark Doty actually said this in a recent interview with him. A lot of people would say, "Oh, so you would have listened to Tangerine Dream or Jean-Michel Jarre or Vangelis or any of those sort of things." And for me, no, it was more the prog rock stuff that got me interested in synths originally. And obviously, as a result, I then started to explore further, and then I found Kraftwerk and those sort of people. But I think I've mentioned this before, like bands like Joy Division in the UK were kind of past the punk movement, and then they started slowly sort of merging into what they are now as New Order. Yeah. And as they slowly started putting synths in their tracks, and they're amazing, like late 70s stuff with synths, and they had things like ARP Quadras and stuff like that. So for me, it was the Pink Floyd of the early 70s. It was the all that sort of stuff got me into synths. And so when you think about it, all of that stuff had massively heavy guitar influences, right? So you can't just ignore it. You can't just go, guitar, just push it aside. Because a guitar is like, I was listening to The Who.
There's guitar all over Tangerine Dream.
I was listening to The Who the other day with my son.
Tangerine Dream albums are covered in guitar.
Yeah,
come back to The Who in a minute. But Phaedra, Ricochet, Rubicon, Force Majeure, Stratosphere, they're all, there's guitar all over them. They may well be synthesizer albums, but they're covered in guitar. Particularly Ricochet. Ricochet's got loads of guitar in it. And Force Majeure. In fact, Force Majeure sounds very suspiciously like Wish You Were Here sometimes. But
that's just the phasey. That's that phasey sort of sound that's got in that. Yeah. So The Who, right? So The Who is classic because Pete Townsend plugs his guitar into an ARP 2600. I mean, how cool is just by saying that that should get all of us going, wow, that's going to be cool. And you can hear that there's an LFO on there which is making that beating sound, and he's obviously used the...
Just have a look at Ben Breslin's point. That is a really, really great point, Ben. Thank you for that one. Spot on.
Yeah. Thanks to guitars, we have guitar pedals. Let's just bring that up. It's a good, definitely a good point. Beautiful. And a lot of guitar pedals.
Did you guys ever hear the Townsend releases of the Who tracks, just doing it himself? Those are amazing.
Yeah, I have. I'm a massive fan of Pete.
Yeah, he's great.
I mean, have you heard his collaboration with Jean-Michel Jarre? That was interesting.
No.
He actually collabed with him. There's a I think it was called Electronic or Electronica or something that he did a collab album.
The collab album.
Yeah.
Right, no, I've not heard that.
Oh, that's one he did with Edgar Froese and all kinds of stuff, right?
Yep.
Edgar Froese was on it, yeah.
Yeah, Edgar's there. Little Boots. You had Pet Shop Boys. You had Gary Newman was on there. Yeah. Lots of people. Actually, the Gary Newman track was awesome that he did with Gary. Definitely had his flavour to it. Really, really haunting vocals in that. So
System 7. Yeah.
We're going out off topic, but what I'm kind of saying is that we should never ever really truly hate on guitars, because really at the end of the day they're just glorified synthesizers, aren't they?
No, I mean, when I was in 4th grade, I was a huge Styx fan, and they had tons of synths in their stuff. It was great.
Yeah, true. Well, whatever, we've hit the 2-hour mark, and I think I've had fun. This is actually, this is nice for me to be able to not have to do a topic, just to sort of chew the fat. I think it's enjoyable. Tell me in the chat if you guys enjoy
anything.
If you enjoy these loose topic sort of shows. Do you guys want us to do more of them, where we kind of just talk about anything and let the conversations mold into wherever they decide to go?
Want more random show and tell here?
Well, it's free, isn't it? We can talk about it. Oh,
Yeah.
Dr. Rhythm, yeah.
I had one of these.
Yeah, one term. Great things.
Is this one digital? The one, or is this analog? I can't remember.
This is basically a 606 with a fancy package.
So I had one of these, and I think I told this story years ago. And I couldn't afford to pay my telephone bill when I was like in my early 20s, and I had to take this to the local pawn shop so I could pay my telephone bill. I was so pissed off because I actually would love to still have it. Yeah, they're actually pretty cool. The graphic.
I love the picture icons on the buttons. It's just kind of cheesy and fun.
Yeah, I got some good sounds out of it. Yeah, it definitely was a 6060 sort of sound, wasn't it? Yeah. Anyway, where did we go? What were we talking about? They enjoy the tangents. That's good. Yeah. Do a show about beer and synths. That's a great idea, says from Bert there. It's a good idea.
Synths and beer.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a guy who appears on Robin Vincent's live stream called Wishbone Brewery. And he really does run the Wishbone Brewery, which is, I think, in Keighley in Yorkshire. So we should get him on it. He'd do synths and beer very, very nicely.
Oh, we should also get, what's his name? We were talking about him the other day. I'm having really bad memory blanks. Prognosis. What's his name?
Oh, yes. Prognosis. What is his name?
I've forgotten his name. I'm an idiot. Me too. Anyway, him. We should get him. We'll do a beer show with all the. I mean, he does the beer intros so well on his YouTube videos. But yeah. Anyway, good idea from AZ Ahead. Definitely a cool idea.
You just want to be careful with synths and beer. We had a synth meet in San Francisco at a local shop that's pretty famous. And the Pittsburgh Modular guy, somebody spilled beer on his controller and fried the unit. So.
Andy's Brooksy's gone to get himself some more beer. It was probably a good segue. Yeah. You mustn't ever have your drinks near your gear. That's a no-no. Says me, who's got a glass of water right next to my controller. I didn't have any beer today. I do apologise, guys. Normally I will have a beer, but I got my second Pfizer jab yesterday afternoon. So today I wasn't feeling like. It's not like I was ill or anything. I just felt like I was like a couple of % under the normal. So I kind of just wanted to be careful And a lot of people will say that their second jab's a little bit more severe than the first in their reaction. But yeah, I reckon I'll be fine tomorrow.
Get a little sleepy.
I was, yeah. Today, yeah, just a bit slow. I think is probably the way to say it. Wasn't as zippy as normal. But anyway, I think we should wrap up the show because it's been 2 hours, and I think that's a good amount of time. Big thanks to all the chatties who kind of, wow, Mark's is saying it knocked him sideways for a week. Wow. I hope it doesn't knock me sideways for a week. I've got some stuff going on this week. I've got to get it out. Yeah, big thank you for the chatties. Always been brilliant with all your lovely comments in there. So please continue to come along to our shows. Thanks so much, Andy, for popping in unannounced. That was awesome. I love that. I love that sort of spontaneousness.
Good to have you, Andy.
Yeah, I just happen to be awake, so you know.
Yeah. And obviously it's good to have Brooksy. Brooksy, good luck next week. We're not going to have Brooksy on the show next week because he's going to be, is that right?
I'll be getting ready. Well, I should be doing my last rehearsals on Saturday morning, and then Saturday afternoon I shall be heading off to the actual venue to support the other performers. So, we should have
Darren back.
So I won't be here next week.
Yep, we should have Darren back, and I don't know who else. I've got a few people that I've been talking to lately, so there are a few surprises coming up very, very soon. Maybe the Test 2400 next week, maybe it's the week after. We'll see how we go. Anyway, big thank you to everyone. Big thank you to the chatties. Stay safe, and we'll catch you all next week. Toodaloo.
Take care, everyone. Ta-da. Bye.